In the heart of Nyeri County, where the mountains breathe mist and the rivers carve like life into the valley, a woman stood for the trees, not with words, but with an embrace. This is the story of Truphena Muthoni, the woman who hugged a tree for 72 hours. To understand her courage, we must return to where it began. Truphena grew up surrounded by forest trees that stood like protectors, elders, and companions. She always said trees could listen and that if we cared for them, they would care for us. Over the years, she watched the land change. Trees fell, rivers receded, seasons grew harsher. Truphena felt the earth weakening and she vowed to act. As environmental crisis deepened, Truphena's activism grew louder. She championed community education, tree planting, and environmental protection. Her voice wasn't just activism, it was a plea for us to save what remained. Yet, even as she spoke, she knew words were not enough. The world needed a simple, a bold gesture that would echo far beyond Kenya. Truphena sought to break a Guinness World Record in Brazil, a marathon tree hugging event that would spotlight environmental destruction. The permanent secretary for environment denied permission. To many, it was a setback. To Truphena, it was a fuel.
I personally have risen. I have inspired movements across the world without big NGO backing, without big corporate backing. I have made the world move, and that's what they're threatened about. Probably, I don't know, because there's no reason to lie to me. This is a very bad situation. You look at this place; it's so beautiful. We have been doing so much practice, and unfortunately, they are always happy posting you when you're doing great things to represent Kenya. But when you need their support, and not even the support, they owe you support. The Ministry of Environment owes me support to be in Brazil. But when I went to look for support, I mean, the PS had already promised a lot of times that is going to support me with a badge, accreditation. And even though they wouldn't give me funds, I know there should be funds. Every accreditation has a budget. But when I was walking into the Ministry of Environment, I was taken rounds. And after that, I found my papers dusty, very dusty, without being signed. Someone looking at me and they don't care. I just try to explain to them, I have a world record attempt that I'm supposed to do in Brazil. Communities are waiting for me. Guinness World Record is waiting for me. Media is waiting for me. Kenyans are watching because I'm representing Kenyans. But jokes on me. Jokes on me. Everybody had traveled the days before COP. They were already in COP. That woman looked at me and said, there's nothing I can do. Nothing. And there's so much anyone could do. Because when I came back, I tried to find accreditation from elsewhere, and I got it from just a youth who's not even known. They swapped their own accreditation for me. They changed their names for me. So you see?
She said, if they won't let me hug a tree in Brazil, I will hug one right here at home in Kenya. On a cool morning near the Nyeri County Governor's office, Truphena placed her arms around a tree, and the journey began. People thought she would last an hour or two, not days. Time lapse, day turning to night. Crowds came and go. By hour 48, her body trembled with exhaustion, but instead of resting, she took another step, one that silenced even her critics. Truphena blindfolded herself. A gesture said to honor people living with disability. Those who navigate life without sight, without hearing, without the privilege so many take for granted. It was powerful, a reminder that the environment belongs to all of us, including those society often forgets. Heavy rains were drenching her, umbrella wielding onlookers watching. The skies opened, rain poured relentlessly, but Truphena did not let go. She held that tree like her life depended on it, and maybe it did. As 72-hour mark was approaching, Truphena was exhausted, but her determination kept her going. At hour 72, a message had already spread beyond Nyeri. Across Kenya, across Africa, across the world, people heard the story of the woman who refused to give up on the earth. Truphena's determination was not about records. It was about survival. Kenya loses thousands of hectares of forest annually. Rivers threaten to vanish. Wildlife runs out of habitat. Her courage exposed the urgency of our environmental crisis. And as she hugged the trees, she was really holding on to the future, which is our future. Truphena's act sparked movements. Schools planted trees, communities formed climate groups, the world listened. Truphena said, I didn't hug the tree to break a record. I hugged it because it is time. Time we all held the earth a little tighter.
Trying to send a message to people to embrace nature, and because when we have mental health crisis, especially that is directly connected to environmental degradation like wildfires and floods and droughts, we have victims having post-traumatic stress disorder, and they trying to tell them that you can always go back to nature for healing. Also, it's a platform of silent protest against destruction of indigenous trees, and also to honor, to want people to honor indigenous knowledge. Yeah, because what we're doing right now is we're cutting down indigenous trees and then replacing them with saplings and calling that mitigation. So that's what I'm.
In a world weighed down by crisis, heroes often stand quietly. Sometimes they do not shout, sometimes they simply hold on. Truphena hugged a tree for 72 hours, but a message will hold for generations. And our message was, for us to plant 1,000,000 trees, we must nurture 1,000,000 hearts that cares.
Before we plant 1,000,000 trees, we must nurture 1,000,000 hearts that care. So the most important thing is to protect what we have first. Yes, and also I believe that conservation will begin with us.
Thank you very much. We'll see you after you've broken the record.
Doing this to also encourage people to just to make them fall in love with nature so that they do not hurt nature. And also because I believe that conservation begins with love, and that we must nurture 1,000,000 trees before we plant 1,000,000 trees. Because we have a lot of tree planting happening, yes, because people know now about logging and its effects to humans, but we are cutting down indigenous forests, indigenous trees, and replacing them with saplings and calling that mitigation, which is not. So encouraging people to first protect what we have.
For us to protect our future, we must protect our forests.